Hi, kids. You haven't seen me for a minute, huh? I know y'all must be going through some mama withdrawals for real. I'm really sorry. As you can imagine, life's just it's hectic. It's life. That's what it is. That's how it do, you know? Um, so I'm in my second to last semester before I graduate with my undergrad. I'm working full time at a litigation law firm here in my hometown, and I'm learning so much. Like, you have no idea how much shit I'm learning. Just getting to sit there all day and listen to the attorneys discuss strategy or whatever. Oh my god. And I'm learning so much because my firm handles both criminal and civil. And so, and everybody that works there is just an expert in their field. Like, these people really fucking know their shit. They really know what they're doing. And I'm just sitting there like a fucking kid in a candy store, like, ooh, keep talking. It's like my own private law school. Seriously. So the progress on the David Thorne project documentary is coming along. I've got so much that I'm trying to I'm trying to decide what exactly needs to go where. It's a whole different animal from doing these YouTube videos, whole different animal. And I'm overwhelmed. I'll say it. I'm fucking overwhelmed, but somebody's got to fucking do it. I I waited to see if anybody other than me was gonna fucking take up these reins, and nobody did. So now y'all get what the fuck I give you. So that's been what's been eating up the majority of my time, besides work and homework and kids, writing. Has been the David Thorne project. I would really like to do in the near future a live, again, for all you kids, so that, we can kind of get some updates and shit going. But the reason I'm making this video is I had a really interesting discussion with my boss earlier today. Now, this man, I am in awe of him daily. Okay. I'm not going to give away too many details because I know that there's some really fucking shady motherfuckers out there that would love nothing more than to try and cause shit with me at work. So I'm not going to give out any details. I'm not going to tell you the firm name. I'm not going to tell you any of that shit. But my boss came to me. Now, I'm a receptionist in a law firm. Okay, so I take the calls, I take the messages, I do the filing. Sometimes I help the lawyers, not so much with research, but with organizing their files, pulling the files for them, making sure that the fucking files are properly categorized and taken care of and nice and neat and tidy for the e-files and all that fun shit. So I'm learning so much about the administration of law. It's not even funny. Like, I'm learning so much, and I cannot even begin to tell you, how much I love my job. I really do. I have not loved a job like this in, 15 years. Like, seriously, I have yet to wake up in the morning and be like, I don't want to go to work. But anyway, so sure you missed my manic ass. So my boss comes into the reception area earlier. We've got some very nice couches in our reception area. Our office manager got sick and tired of the ugly old couches that we had, and she made an executive decision and she got us some choice fucking couches. And he comes in and he sits down. I'm refilling the printer with paper, and he tells me, hey, Casey, tell me something. Does it sound like a fair trial to you when the state is the one prosecuting the case? They're the complainant. They're funded by the government. The lab that will process the evidence is funded by the government. The experts that the state will call as witnesses are funded by the government. The prosecutor, the lawyer, the district attorney handling the case is paid by the government. The judges are paid by the government. The cops are paid by the government. And the defendant has us. Does that sound like a fair trial to you? And at first, like I really, sat there and I didn't really know how to respond to that. I'm gonna be honest here. Usually I'm pretty quick-witted, but he stumped my ass on that one. I was like, I'm like, I'm just refilling the paper, dude. Like, the fuck? But he has a really good point. He has an excellent point. And this all goes back around to what Stephen Avery said. This all goes back around to the David Thorne case. This goes back around to all the wrongful convictions that we advocate for. And that is basically like the fucking deck is stacked. The house, all the odds are on the house in more ways than one. That fucking saying has never been more true than it is with our current criminal justice system. And it's really fucking sad because in order for the defendant to put up a proper defense, they have to counter everything. What do you want, Klaus? My cat. Oh my God. I'll tell you about him in a minute. But in order for the defendant to counter all of the prosecution's case is almost impossible unless the defendant has a financial base with which to do so. Because the defendant, at the end of the day, has to pay for not only the attorney. You're not just paying for the lawyer when you hire an attorney, baby. Oh no, a lot of you don't know this. A lot of you do, but a lot of you don't. You are not only paying for the attorney, you're paying for me, you're paying for the paralegal, you're paying for the private detective that typically works for these kinds of firms. You're paying for the office manager. You're paying for the bookkeeper. You're paying for the IT guy. All of them are billing you. They're billing you. How do I know this? Because I'm fucking billing the clients for my time. I do anything on a client's case. Anything. And I have to bill them for that time. I send them a notice of hearing. I have to bill them for the time that it took me to calendar the hearing. I have to bill them for the time it took for me to scan the notice into the e-file. I have to bill them for the time it took me to write up the transmittal memorandum, which goes with the hard copy of the notice that I send out to them. I have to bill them for the time it takes me to copy the notice, the time it takes me to make the envelope, the time it takes me to put it into the envelope, the time it takes me to put the postage on the envelope, and then the time it takes me to enter all of this shit into the system. Okay? That's just me. That's just what I do with a notice of hearing. Okay? So, think about that. The defendant has to pay for any experts, any witness interviews. If the law firm that you have hired is employing a private detective and that private detective goes to talk to the other side's witnesses, which they're allowed to do, they're going to bill you for not only the private detective's time, but the equipment used to record that. And then guess what? You're going to be billed for the transcription, which I do. Okay? The defendant is paying for everything. Everything. Private detective, hiring of experts, vetting the experts to make sure that they will not be impeached on the stand. Everything. The defendant is paying for. A little bit of ash. So the fact is that if you think about it, but what is the prosecution paying for? What is the prosecution paying for? They're not paying for shit. They're not paying for a goddamn thing. All they have to do is submit a purchase order to the state for the experts, for the private detective to do their interviews. They're not having their secretary bill the fucking client, who is the state. They're just paying her. They're not paying the transcriptionist separately. The state is paying her. Do you see what I'm saying? They're not paying for the copies. The state pays for that. So do you see what I'm saying? There is no way that unless you have at least $50,000 in liquid assets, and that's for a conservative case, are you going to get a fair trial? Because you are on the hook for all of that. All of it. Now, does that sound like a fair trial to you kids? Does it? Really? Yeah, I didn't fucking think so. The fact remains is that our criminal justice system is in desperate need of reformation. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like that's going to happen anytime soon. Because the system is broken. But those in power have a vested interest in keeping it broken. That's why I advocate for David Thorne, Nathan Rion, Jermaine Scott, Scott Davis, Stephen Avery, Brendan Dassey, Damian Eccles, Jason Baldwin, Jason Miss Kelly Jr., all of them. This is why I push so fucking hard. And this is why I get so pissed off when my fan base doesn't give a shit about the non-famous cases. It's because it doesn't just affect them. It affects you. Okay? I tweeted recently, a couple months ago. That's recent for me these days. I tweeted recently something with regards to you get what you pay for, but I've never seen a fucking receipt for any of the shit that was purchased with my taxes. Our government needs to give us complete and utter transparency, especially when it comes to shit like this. I would love to know how much of my taxes went to a fake occult expert, for instance. I would love to know how much of my taxes went to a non-biased lab that's funded by the state. I would love to know this because at the end of the day, that's what we're paying for, kids. That's all us. And we're being screwed. The deck is stacked against us, guys. That's why I push so hard. That's why I expect you guys to do your reading, do your homework, get involved with shit if you want to. So this is Klaus. Klaus came to me in the same way that a lot of things have been coming to me these days. I somehow inherited him after I booted out the last would-be boyfriend who didn't even ask my permission to move in. Just kind of showed up and stayed. And he left the cat, which, in all honesty, dude, we're square. At least I got a cat out of the deal. But this is Klaus. He's my little crime-fighting partner, kind of. So anyways, so I just wanted to bring that to your guys' attention. I'm learning an awful lot at this job, and I can't even begin to tell you how fucking amazing it is for me. I irritate the shit out of the paralegals. I really do. I drive them crazy because I'm like a kid in a candy store. Any of the lawyers ask me for anything and I'm like, absolutely. Because this is exactly where I want to be right now. This is exactly where I need to be right now. And I'm so grateful for this opportunity. I can't even begin to tell you. I'm over the moon. I'm over the moon completely. So I'm sure that as the days go on, I will be bringing you a lot more videos like this where my boss or, one of the lawyers has presented something to me. In fact, one of the other attorneys today, what did he say? Oh God, it was so profound. His dad had said it to him. He said, I think something along the lines of when you go to court, you're not looking for justice, you're looking for the application of the law. And I was like, holy shit, that's profound. Oh my God. That's like some Cicero level shit, dude. But it, I get tidbits like that every day. And to those people that tell me that because I cuss a lot, that I'll never make a great lawyer, listen, I walked into this job the first day, and all I gotta say is, I call bullshit. That's all I'm gonna say on that one. That's all I'm gonna say. So, at any rate, kids, I think I've talked your ears off for long enough. I love you all very much. I miss you. I promise you that great things are fucking happening. So, don't forget to subscribe to me here on YouTube. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, Mama Phoenix 6. And if you boogie on over to the About page here on my channel, you'll find everything from my blog to my Pinterest boards. Thank you all very much for watching, and we'll see you soon.